Agency Reviews. And you may or may not know, but you have landed on the Friday 15, where every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time, we answer the questions that you have sent our way. So if you have a question for us, we would love to help you find an answer. You can submit it by going to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15, or you can click the link in the description. So today we have a co-host on with us. You may recognize her, either her face or her voice. It's Connie Miller from Montecito Village Travel. Hello, Connie.
Hello, Stephanie. How are you today?
Oh, well, it's Friday, so I'm always good on Friday. If we did these on Mondays, it would be a different story.
Absolutely.
I'd be like, good morning. Happy Monday 15. Thank you for joining
Where's
me.
my coffee?
I know. I have 5 more days of the work week ahead, but it's Friday, so that's exciting. I'm also so those of you that missed host week, Connie did a meet the host segment with Montecito Village Travel. So I'm going to link to that in the description and in the show notes so that those of you that are interested in learning a little bit more about MVT, you can find that out. And one thing to note is I got the sales wrong for Montecito Village Travel on there. So I think I said it was 275 million and it's actually a cumulative, is it 400 million, Connie?
400 million last year. Yes.
So I really missed the mark on that.
That's all right.
Yeah, but we're correcting it now. So let's see. Other things to note before we jump into questions. On this channel, if you're listening to the podcast channel, we have 2 podcasts. We have the Friday 15, we have the Travel Agent Chatter. Travel Agent Chatter is the in-depth, it's usually about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes where we talk with a successful advisor and really pick apart what makes them successful and some unique things they're doing in their agency that other agents can implement. So we just dropped one a few days ago. If you haven't listened to it, it's with Judy Lombardi. She's a brand new advisor, just started out in June of last year. By June of this year, she is set to replace her salary already. She's also done no marketing. So it's a great way if you're struggling to get those sales in, need some inspiration, or if you're a new advisor and just want to hear the experience of someone that's new within their first year, make sure to tune into that. All right, Connie, let's get into these questions. We
Very
got
good.
some we got some doozies for you. So this one is from Kristina. I would love continued conversations about how to execute charging fees when different trips take such different amounts of time. Some people know what they want, some don't. Isn't that true? I've been experimenting in every person I've told an hourly fee to. I've tested it at $75 to $100 and gave my estimated timeline, but every one of those people has passed on my services. So I haven't gotten any fees in the 6 months I've been working on this. I've had some great success, but I have also wasted a ton of time with people shopping me and then taking my itinerary and booking it elsewhere to save $20, especially on those FITs. I've got to take control of my time and energy and make sure I'm spending time with the right people, but I have no idea how to actually implement fees and what a reasonable rate for the package is. I don't want to scare people off who could become great clients. Kristina C. All right, Connie, what are your thoughts on this? We did a webinar on fees a few years ago. That's fantastic. That I'm going to link to Kristina. But Connie, tell us your thoughts.
Oh my gosh, that's a question as old as time, to quote a Disney movie, right? um, I would say, first of all, just kind of look at how you're delivering the message. Okay. One of the things, whenever you say you have a service fee or anything along those lines, what you really need to do is say why and what the benefit is to the client. Never think in your own head. For this fee, I will do this, 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 and this for you. And so you really need to take away whatever fear factor your client has and why they're coming to you in the first place. So that's one thing. Sometimes we get hung up in the language and we don't know how to really deliver that message. And right before this call, I went into ChatGPT and I just said, give me an introduction of a service fee to a client as in the voice of a travel advisor. And I got back a script that was really, really good. And it explained all the things you do, because I don't think a lot of times clients coming to us really understand everything that goes into it. Then the other thing you need to take a look at is how are you going to charge those service fees? And I actually have done quite a few sessions on this. There are about as many different models of charging fees as there are personalities out there, so you have to find something that works for you. I would say probably fewer people use an hourly rate because that can be kind of scary. The client doesn't know what the end result is. But what I've seen is if you are booking something that is relatively easy to book, say a traditional cruise or something like that, you charge a flat fee. And then when present it as you sit down with a client, you can say something to the effect of, my consultation, the first hour is absolutely free. I will sit down, I'll work with you, I'll walk through all of this. But let me tell you how I do my business. This is how I will research the best pricing for you. I will make sure that all of, and you have your list of things that you do for the client, right? And you always illustrate that benefit. And for that, my fee for booking, if you're looking at a cruise, is, and then you give the dollar amount, whether it's $50, $75, $35. Everybody has a different fee structure, but you need to figure out what's right for you. Now, I know advisors that charge quite a bit and some that charge the $35, $50 range. What makes the difference there? And that has to do with your level of service, because what I found with travel advisors, there are some that are pretty much transactional. Then there are those that are really educational and informative, and they do a lot of consultation. Then there's those that really hold hands, make sure everything is perfect for the client and check in with them during their stay and that type of thing. So depending on the level of service you provide, that's where you inflate or deflate or adjust, I guess is probably the better word, your service fees. So finding a way of doing that is important. But then, like you mentioned, FITs can be just a nemesis. So what some people, I mean, it is.
Great way of describing them.
Oh, yeah, it's like, oh, this could be
They're
really
great,
easy.
but a lot of work.
They are really great, but a lot of work. So a lot of times the most successful advisors doing FITs, generally like will say it's maybe $250 for a 7-day FIT. And then if it's longer, it gets, it becomes a higher service fee. If you're hesitant at charging service fees too, some advisors will and I don't like this model, but I'm just going to throw that out there to anybody who's listening that's not charging fees and don't feel comfortable necessarily doing it. You can say, I have a planning fee, a consultative fee of X number of dollars. When it's booked, I apply that to the final payment. Now, that means you're getting the money up front. They're invested in you. So that's the good side. The downside is you're still doing all the work and things can happen. But if that's more comfortable for you, yeah, exactly. If that's more comfortable for you, you can do it. Long answer to a short question, but I'd say, first of all, make sure you're delivering the message correctly. Number 2, find a service fee that you're comfortable with. And the third thing, which we really didn't talk about, is Kristina mentioned she had some good relationships and good experiences. I think it's really important to cultivate those clients, because if they're willing to pay a service fee and comfortably do so without any pushback or going somewhere else, they probably have friends and associates that understand the value of a service fee. And, if you're losing clients because you're charging a fee, those are probably not the clients you want anyway.
Well, and the nice thing is if if they're paying your service fee, they're almost like a salesperson for you, because if they're happy with it, they can tell their friends, listen, she's $200, but let me tell you, it was so worth it. You don't even have to really sell yourself. So those referrals are bank.
Absolutely.
Kristina, a couple resources I want to send your way. So Connie mentioned like the verbiage is really, really important. So the first thing, oops, hold on, I'm sharing the wrong screen. We have a great article on, and Connie, this actually has her video embedded in it, I think. So this is the Travel Advisor's Guide to Charging Fees. You can tell it's a very popular article over here in the share section. But we talk about, so let's see, here is where you're going to really love it. This is the verbiage. This has over, I think, 150 advisors talking about the exact verbiage they use to communicate their fees. They give advice to people that are hesitant to charge fees. And if you didn't charge fees starting out, how did you start implementing them? Because that can be a challenge as well. And then we kind of walk through, it's essentially like I don't want to say a self-esteem booster, but there can be a lot of hesitation when you're starting to charge fees. And this kind of walks you through, this is why it's okay to be charging fees. I think, let's see. Yeah, if you're worried about um, attracting new clients, if you don't have enough experience, you might lose people. Um, you don't know enough to charge fees to warrant it yet. And then we also go over, there's some things, if you are charging fees and you're located in certain states, you need to be aware of the seller of travel information. So we have that information in here too. So it's kind of a gem of a article, and we will link to that. And then the other thing I want to share with you is um, we do our annual survey, and it'll be coming up in April. So that'll be coming up soon. You can go to hostagencyreviews.com/survey to sign up for reminders. And what's nice about the survey is we end up publishing these reports then. And so this is our hosted travel advisor report from last year. And there's a huge section on fees. I'll show you right here. So you can see we talk about consultation fees, we talk about service fees. In the consultation fee trends, then we talk about the more common ones are, well, let me just show this to you. So the consultation free trends, you can see that 84% of people are doing flat fees. Only 4% do hourly, and there's a reason behind that because they're running into what you're running into. And so then we break it down by, if you're doing a consultation fee, these are the plan to go fees that Connie talked about, where you put either some or part of the consultation fee back to the booking. Um, but then where's my consultation fee one? Oops, sorry, I'm missing it here. Okay, here's our hourly fee trends. So, 53% of people that charge those hourly fees charge a variable fee, which means it kind of varies based on if, say, you're doing a cruise or a tour thing. And then $20 to $125 was the hourly fee range, with 65 being the median. But the thing I would say about the hourly fees is that um, for you, I think because when you're new, you want to make sure you're being compensated for your time, and it might take you 12 hours to do something to research it. So you're like, I want to be compensated for that. But the way I kind of look at it is, you can do an hourly fee, but it needs to also be a realistic one because they're paying for an expert. And if it takes you 12 hours, you shouldn't be charging them for those full 12 hours. They shouldn't be paying for your training, if that makes sense. So that's why these flat fees work a little bit better, because if you take 12 hours to do it, it's still like kind of the going rate that's out there versus the hourly fees. If you're newer at it, it's going to skew it so that it's going to be more expensive for the advisor or for the client. Um, but I'm going to link. Oh, I didn't share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so here's the hourly fee trends. Let me just go back. I do this every time. Um, and here's the consultation free trends that I was showing, talking to you about. And then I'm just going to show you so here's the table of contents that has all of the fee information. So very, very thorough. For those of you that took the survey last year, you get this like 80-page or 75-page report for free. If you did not take it, it is $89 if you're a small agency, which you can totally obviously gain back with probably one booking. But this kind of gives you the confidence to know what the going trends are and the going rates are. So it's really, really helpful. And if you, again, didn't take it last year, go to hostagencyreviews.com/survey to sign up to get to the reminders for this year so that you can get a free report this year. Connie, our next question is, oh, and Connie, you did a Travel Institute webinar on fees too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to link to that. You need to be a member of the Travel Institute and able to watch in order to watch it, but I know many of you are. And so we'll link to that for the members that they can watch it. I'll also link to we just did an article on using HARS research papers to grow your agency. And I'll link to that because there's an area that talks about fees. And we also have a chart of fees for you that I'll link to. All right, next question. This is from Sean R. Are Interline rates accessible by any travel agents, hosting agency? Newbie here looking for a host agency. The majority of my friends, family, and neighborhood, oh wow, are airline employees. That's kind of neat. So this would be a rather large target market for me. And frankly, my niche is the cruise market. I'm familiar with Perks, ID90, Interliner, etc. And for those that don't know, these are travel agencies that specialize in booking interline rates. Um, and for those that don't know, interline rates are special fares that the cruise lines offer to airline employees as a general rule. Um, but can a new agent under a hosting agency access these interline rates, or is there some sort of authorization process an agent needs to obtain in order to book these rates for clients? So, Connie, let's start off at Montecito Village Travel. Do you book interline rates?
No, we don't have those agreements. I did, just in preparation for this call, reach out to some people that were familiar with those rates. And as you and I were speaking earlier, if you go to any of those websites, they are basically travel agencies that you're working with. And I am not sure whether they bring on independent contractors. But if you're looking to do this, and let's face it, everybody starts their business with the low hanging fruit. So if you've got family and friends and neighbors who already know and trust you, that's where you're going to go to start building your business.
Mhm.
The one thing I would say is first of all, do your research, reach out and find out if there's, personally, I don't know of any host agencies that have those relationships, but there may be some out there. So that would be the first question you should ask. Then also go to Perks, go to there and see what they have available. They may host their own. I would take a look there. I did talk and speak with some of our advisors who were familiar with the interline rates. And you mentioned you're a cruise specialist. They have some really, really good pricing on cruises, but they typically are last minute. So just be aware that last minute bookings are always tricky. They're going to take more time. You may need to do some service fees in order to offset the time that you're doing on that. So as you build your business model, do your research on this. I wish I could give you more information. I would just say it is probably not going to be the most high revenue business for you. Just
Yeah,
as
it'll be higher numbers,
Mhm.
lower commissions will be how you'll have to make it happen.
Yeah.
But if your whole neighborhood is airline employees, which sounds so fun, you can make it happen.
And maybe you
So
could get a buddy pass with them and do their travel for free and do all the reservations for them, and then you get to fly and travel with them too.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen because there's a couple things I want to share with you, Sean. So the first is we have an airline article on what interline cruise rates are for those that don't know and want to learn more. But here's some of the big interline cruise rate agencies. And so I would, in addition to our host agency list, which I'll link to right here, I would go ahead and reach out to these to see if they take on independent contractor advisors because I don't know if they host or not. But it's worth reaching out to them, first of all. The second thing is host agencies, it's really hit or miss on if they have to have special contracts in order to sell these interline rates. So it's not like if they have an accreditation number and can say sell Carnival Cruise that they can book interline rates. There's special contracts that they need to be involved in. The the commissions vary on these contracts and the cruise lines that you can book vary. So, I reached out to a bunch of host agencies, and at most they had two. I think the person that had the most had two or three cruise lines that they did interline rates with. But depending on if you're bringing a lot of people that are requesting to book these, you might be able to um, work with the host agency to get negotiations in place for another cruise line. But the thing I was going to say to you on here, like we'll look at Montecito's here. If you have questions and are wondering if they take interline rates, so Montecito doesn't, but I would go into the question and answer section and ask it for the host agencies that you're interested in. Because This is a question that has been coming up more for our team, and so it's helpful for other advisors to know that, and this is something that's so variable by host agency. You could also send them a note, but this way everybody else can see the question. So Sean, I hope that answers your questions. And yeah, excited to hear about your neighborhood parties where you all go on a Interline cruise rate. So let's see. I'm going to take that off. Okay, next question. Where is it? Okay, here we go. This is from Jamie T. So, can you help me understand the technology needed to be a travel agent? What is the most important technology if you are on a budget? Connie, what's your advice on that?
Oh boy. First of all, find a good host agency, because a host agency, one of the reasons you go with a host agency is for economy of scale. So they're going to have the CRMs for you. They're going to have the technology that they can provide to you. If a host agency has a monthly fee, it might be included in that. Otherwise, it's provided to you at no cost. But a good customer relationship management system is critical, and it also needs to be PCI compliant, because you're holding credit card information for your travelers. But again, a lot of that's going to be provided to you by your host. So that's really where you need to go. And then Stephanie, I kind of chuckled when I saw this, because I was just like, okay, there's technology and then knowing how to use technology. So
True.
I mean, it's like you can give somebody all the best technology, but if they're not tech savvy, it's not so good. So my advice is not to worry so much about the technology you need to buy, but understand what the technology can do and invest in yourself by learning how to use that technology. And it can be anything from being able to use ChatGPT for conversations, for research, there's just so many ways you can use that. Aside from the CRM, I would also recommend, and the CRM can do this as well, is a workflow program. So
Can you
if you
just explain in case
Sure.
they're new, like what a CRM is?
Okay, so a customer relationship management system, that's a CRM. That's what the acronym stands for. So it's a repository for your client's information. So it's going to be everything from their name, address, telephone number, their past travel plans. CRMs in travel will actually allow you to do the invoicing. And then actually they can create flow systems too. So if I'm your client and I come on board, you might be able, through a very good CRM system, to send me a questionnaire to fill out, where I provide you with my loyalty numbers. I provide you with my credit card information. I provide you with my travel preferences. All of that information then is housed in the CRM. And then that becomes the focal point for how you actually sell travel. So when you are booking a hotel, you have that Hyatt Privé number, or whatever the case might be. It also allows you to set up workflow systems. So most travel advisors have a system. You have an initial conversation, you have a follow-up email, you may have a series of emails you send. Let's say, for example, you're going to sell a cruise. You might have a 5 months before you go email, a 4 months. So you're building anticipation. That can all be set up within your CRM to be automated on your behalf. So a CRM is kind of the focus. It's the nucleus of working with your clients.
Mhm.
I've seen people try to do it using Outlook and contacts and that type of thing, and that's not what you want to do. Not at
No,
all.
yeah, that's duct tape together. That's gonna fall apart.
But the CRM will be your tool and for workflow purposes and that type of thing. So that's really important. And then, invest in yourself, learn technology. Don't be afraid of it. What I see is a lot of times people will buy into a CRM that does all these wonderful things, but never learn how to use it. The other thing that I really think every advisor should use is some type of document delivery system. So a document delivery system, and you probably have heard the names Travify, UMap, Access. There are others out there. What it actually does, it's an aggregator of all of the information for a person's travel. So you've created a trip for me. I've got my flights, I've got a pre-night stay, maybe it's a Mediterranean cruise and a post-night stay and all of that, right? So so how is this information then delivered to the client? So technology can help you develop and provide a very professional looking document for your travelers' travel. And when you use a document delivery system such as Travelify, UMap, Access, there's also an electronic version that actually in many cases will allow them to text you while they're traveling. It gives them ancillary information while they're traveling. It will show them maps, and you can even drop in your own recommendations. Maybe there's a great restaurant in Venice you want them to try. You can drop the pin into that document delivery system. And if your clients are tech savvy, they're going to have it. If they're not tech savvy, you can print it out for them and they can have a beautiful printed itinerary. What it does is it really elevates your status with the traveler, right? And also is another reason why you charge those service fees in the beginning, right? I mean, it's all about what you deliver and how you deliver that information. So critical. Also, what you will find, and a lot of people don't think of it this way. They think of a document delivery system as something that is provided after the trip's been all planned out, but you can use it in the consultative session as well. So as you're working maybe with a couple different couples, or maybe people are in different areas, you can work to build an itinerary, those custom FIT itineraries, and everybody's on the same page because you're sharing information directly with links to different museums or activities or restaurants or whatever the case might be. But it's a very wonderful way to be collaborative in a tech world. And that's...
And package it up in a pretty bow.
And yeah, puts the cherry on the top.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't have an article on CRMs, but some of the popular ones that are out there, TravelJoy is popular. Actually, in our reports, we go over the tech that travel advisors use within their agency. Let me just look really quick. And let me see, what do we got for CRMs? And then the document delivery systems, we call those itinerary builders over here, but the CRMs that are popular, TESS is one, client-based, TravelJoy, Travelify, Vacation CRM, Clientease, Turn is another one that just came onto the market last year. So what I wanted to show you is we have this article on itinerary builder comparison charts. And so these are the Travifies, Access, Turn, Safari. So it compares all sorts of information for you on it so that you can check them out. They even have like little videos on what the itinerary looks like, what the quote looks like, how you build it, a demo on those. So it's really helpful. And I would agree with Connie. We'll link to this in the show notes, but I would agree with Connie that the CRM is kind of the hub that you need to work with. And one of the things to note is upcoming, we have for our Friday 15 Turn, which has the CRM as well as the itinerary builder. They are going to be on March 22nd. So if you have specific questions for them on CRMs, itinerary builders, workflows, forms for your website, all that sort of stuff, let us know. So you can submit it at hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. So Connie, this has been so much fun today. Thank you. I know you're leaving in like an hour and a half or an hour. So thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, thank you. No, it's an honor. It's a privilege. And it's always fun talking to you, Stephanie. So glad I could be of help.
Yeah, and I'm going to link to Montecito's Host Agency Reviews profile. Is there anywhere else you want me to link to, or places that are good to get a hold of you or someone from your team?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me personally, it's ConnieM@ytc.com. Of course, you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Instagram at Montecito Village Travel. It's pretty easy to find us.
There's a thing called the internet that is very good at finding people and things. So, well, we will go ahead and we'll put your email in the description, and we'll also link to your Instagram and LinkedIn page. For those of you that are Friday 15 diehards, upcoming in the future, March 8th, next week, is Lindsay Lauer with Travel Leaders 365. Following that, March 15th, mid-March, we have Lori Spears with Levarte Travel. And then, as I mentioned earlier, March 22nd is Turn, which is not a host agency. They are a tech company. So if you have questions for any of these co-hosts specifically, either on their host agency or their tech platform, You can submit it by going to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. Well, thank you again for joining us, Connie. Thank all of you for joining us, and we will see you next Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time.